Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hyperconscious Podcast. Alan, what is hyperconscious?
Once you understand why something is the way that it is, now you have the power to change it. Great conversations with great people and great questions are the keys to the kingdom of unlocking your consciousness.
Every single action that you do starts as a thought. When you control the way you think, you will control the way you act, and you will control the way you live. That is hyperconscious. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode where we sat down and talked about grateful dissatisfaction. Today, we were lucky enough to sit down with professional mixed martial artist Linton "The Swarm" Vassell. He is a heavyweight in the Bellator organization, 6'4", 240 pounds. Nicest guy in the world, though.
Yeah, he's actually more hyperconscious than we realized, so we got to dissect his mindset. I took 4 full pages of notes as Kevin smirks over there because I always say that. No, but one of the things that really jumped off the page was this. He said that every time I'm in a ring, because Kevin asked him, what is your mindset going into a fight? And he said, I think of it this way. If someone was trying to steal food from my table and I'm trying to feed my family, I would knock them out. type of thing. So that's where he gets his ambition and his drive. He's been a professional fighter for 14 years, and being able to pick his brain has been fascinating.
Guys, this was one of the intentions. This was one of the dreams when the Hyperconscious Podcast started. It was to be able to pick anybody in the world, sit down with them, and pick their brain on what made them the people that they are today, and we were able to do that. Tripping over my words. So we hope you will enjoy this episode as much as we enjoyed recording. Linton is a next-level mind, and he's got a big heart on him, too, so that helps.
And we can't wait to meet him in Florida for round 2, so keep an eye out for that in the future.
And we hope you will enjoy.
Talk to you soon.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hyperconscious Podcast is proudly sponsored by our friend and mentor, David Meltzer of the Playbook Podcast. He was kind enough to join us on episode 144 and 135.
Folks, it has become Kevin and I's mission in life to help you realize that the life of your dreams is right on the other side of you becoming the greatest version of yourself. Let us help you do that.
I rarely do these things twice in such a short amount of time, but you guys impress me. I believe in people that provide value and of our service. You two guys are on your way to huge fulfillment, purpose, and profitability, and I look forward to helping you both.
We appreciate that more than you know. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. Today's guest is a professional mixed martial artist. He fights for Bellator. He was a light heavyweight. We just found out he is going up to heavyweight now. We are talking to Linton "The Swarm" Vassell. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I can't complain. All is well, thank you. So, I'm just looking forward to having this interview.
Well, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
So you said you just got finished training about, a couple hours ago, and you're getting ready to go to do some weightlifting after. So one of your jobs, basically, is to make your body the best weapon it can be, like between conditioning, technique, and fitness. What is it like for you to just kind of always be working out? Like, is that something you enjoy?
Seriously, I love it. Growing up, I was always doing some type of, if it wasn't athletics, like track and field, I was lifting weights. So I've always been active growing up. But yeah, I feel like if I don't train, then I feel some type of way, like I get a bit grumpy, and I feel like I haven't had a workout. So even if I go to the gym and do some fitness, or even just go in the sauna and just get my mind, sort of zoning out a little bit instead of just sitting in my room or going out for something to eat. I need to keep active. I'm an active person.
So there's a big difference between sports and the professional sport and art of martial arts and mixed martial arts. How did you get into martial arts, and what were the early days for you like? Because when I looked up your record, I think your first fight was in 2006 or 2007?
Yes.
It was a different time back then. Like it
Yeah, I
wasn't.
really was.
Yeah, right. It wasn't nearly as mainstream as it is now. It wasn't nearly as accepted either. So what got you into martial arts, and what were the early days like for you?
Okay, so early days for me growing up, I'd always like wrestle with my friends. We used to watch WWF, so we'd always play fight and just mess around as you do as a kid growing up. And one of my friends, Cliff Hall, he's just getting back into MMA himself. He was fighting, and he was a big name on the scene. So I'd go and watch, and go and support him. And we were in my garden, just like play fighting and stuff. And what we'd do, we'd have like teams, and like you two go together, and we'd watch each other fight and stuff. And then I went up against Cliff, even though he was a professional. I was the biggest guy there to go against him, and I picked him up and I did the rock bottom wrestling move. And unfortunately, I knocked him out by accident. He got up obviously eventually, and he wanted to carry on. And my mum come out of the kitchen and was like, "Boy, stop, stop, stop!" Obviously. So obviously we're not stopping. And he was like, "I think you should come and fight. Like you did that to me. Imagine what you can do to the other guys with some training." And really, I never thought, and I had about 2 fights ever in my life. I was never a fighter, so I was like, nah, I wasn't interested. Finally, about probably after a year of him, keep saying, come to the gym. I finally went to the gym, and before you know it, I was picking up the pros there, throwing them around, choking them out. And these are professional athletes. And my coach, even though he's in England, I still use him whenever I go back to UK. I don't know if you know him, Danny Batten.
Yes.
So yeah, he was big on the scene back in obviously the earlier days. So yeah, he was like, "I think you're good enough to fight." So I trained for about 6 months, and then yeah, he's like, "I can teach you some techniques." And had my first fight after 6 months. I won that in like about a minute. And then I had a second fight. I won that in about another minute, 30 seconds. And that was for a heavyweight title. So I was winning these fights with pretty much not much, training under my belt. I had 3 fights before you know it. I couldn't find any fights. This was at semi-pro. Semi-pro is like an amateur, I'd say. And then, yeah, let's just go pro then. And then before you know it, 14 years later, I'm fighting for like one of the biggest companies in the world. It just sort of fell on my lap. I like to say I was gifted pretty much. And from watching all these wrestling, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior slamming people, I just took that with me and just slam people up. might sound corny, but that's the story.
No, I love it, man, because you'll see a lot of times like a movie of a young kid who starts training.
Yes.
And then he picks it up very quickly, and then he ends
Yeah.
up being the champion. So I think it's huge that's the way your story went, and I appreciate you sharing it with us.
Yeah, and obviously what happened, so I actually ended up getting a title fight at light heavyweight. I lost that, and I was like, I need to sort of change something. I didn't have the training partners in England. Like there's fighters, but I'm a big dude, and I just didn't have people my size, enough people at my level. So I ended up losing that fight. And then that was when I said to my coaches, it's time to, change some stuff up. Came to America, trained with like Rumble, Thiago Silva, Stefan Struve. And I was like, wow, if this is what it's like over here, I need some of this. So yeah, I've been there now like 4 years.
Linton, so you kind of just went a little deep into the beginning of MMA for you. One of the things that I like to really figure out from our guests is when did you know that fighting was your dream? And what was your vision back then for what fighting would entail versus what it actually is now going forward?
So I would say when I fought for my first British title, like a world title, it was on OMAC, and I fought a guy called Kevin Thompson, and he was like smashing everyone up at light heavyweight, and I think I might have been like ranked 20 or something, but I was winning. I hadn't fought the people he had fought, but for me, I'm not that person to be like, oh, let me fight this guy, you know. Because to me, I like to be challenged. I don't like to be like, oh, let me have that easy fight to boost my record up. Because then when you do fight someone tough, you know, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. So anyway, we end up fighting. I got that fight. I ended up beating him in the second round, I think. And that was when I realised, I was like, I just beat a top 10 guy for a title. And I sort of thought, you know what, I can make some money here. And it was then, I can't remember what year it was, but that's when I realised, you know, I feel like I can make a career out of it.
So what is your vision now for your future? What's the next decade look for Linton?
Oh, I'm heavyweight now, so I need to get in there and again, hopefully soon, and just start wrecking people. I know what I can do. I know what I can do.
I love the mentality, man. Seriously, it's awesome.
That's seriously, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like, you know, I've definitely got a good another like 5-6 years in me. So yeah, I'm just waiting to get another fight and then fight for that heavyweight title. I feel like me and Ryan Bader have some unfinished business. I know we fought at light heavyweight, and I know he beat me, but I feel like I'm better than that person now, and I haven't got to cut 25 pounds.
Right, you can eating good now.
Seriously, and the thing was, so I obviously going into training, I'll be at like 225, 230, fighting these heavyweights at training, and then obviously going down to 205 and then fighting. I just felt like I felt good in training, but then when it really comes to cutting all that weight and fighting, you do deplete yourself.
Yeah.
I had a good career at light heavyweight, but I just feel like, you know, to fight at the top level, and it really is like inches, I feel like, in that level. So I feel like I'm there, and I just feel like heavyweight now is where I need to be. It just got harder to cut weight, so I feel like this is my weight. No weight cutting, train, eat, and you know, you train smart and you stay healthy, no injuries. So I feel blessed.
Linton, can you go into, for the listeners, what weight cutting actually is and how much it actually takes out of your body and your mind?
Oh wow! So for me, I used to do a 10-week fight camp. So I would eat clean, like chicken, rice, vegetables, pretty much every day, fish, clean, clean, clean. Everyone would say to me, "Why are you eating so clean?" I'm like, "I want to lose the weight. But I want to lose it properly. I don't want to. Oh, I've got 2 weeks left and then lose 20 pounds." So I would always do a long weight cut. But yeah, I'd get injured because you're trying to train at a high level still, and you're cutting weight. So your body's obviously you're losing weight, losing your power, but you're still trying to put that output, you know, and get maximum out of it. So you'd get injured, be stressed, you'd be hungry. So you're sitting at home, you're getting ill, your immune system. And then what I hated was the water. You couldn't drink, you're dehydrated, and you got to lose more weight. You go in like wake up, weighing day the day before the fight. You've got like, I don't know, about 6-7 pounds to go, and you've probably been in the sauna for about 2 hours, or the salt bath. You come out and you still got like 4 or 5 pounds to go, and you're like, oh, I've not lost anything. Your mouth's dry. It's a nightmare. It is, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Seriously, I wouldn't change it for the world. You know, I feel like you know, as fighters, it's something you have to go through, and I feel like you sort of do live and you learn. But when you make that weight, it's like, thank you, God, and then you get to eat, and you know, and it goes out of your mind, and then all you're thinking about is the fight. So you obviously do go through a good 10 weeks of torture, but then as soon as you've made that weight and you've had that water in your mouth, or that salt and them carbs in you and them sugars, all them worries are just gone. All that trouble's just gone. All that hard work has gone. And then I feel like the easy part, the hard work's done. Now it's time for the easy part.
So
I feel like the hardest part is the weight cut.
So let's go into the easy part. So I think it's this is one of my dreams, like being able to talk to a high level professional MMA fighter. I have been following mixed martial arts for such a long time. I have seen many of your fights, but what really stood out to me was going through your Instagram page and seeing how philosophical you are. And you're so much more than just a fighter. So I know I'll watch fights with people who haven't watched a lot of fights, and they'll say, oh, these guys must hate each other if they're fighting that way. And you said,
No, not at
I
all.
want to smash this guy. But can you go? So some people fight better when they hate the person. Some people actually fight worse when they don't like the person. But what is your mindset going in there when you have an opponent? Do you not like them, or are you just thinking to yourself, this is another day at work?
Exactly that. Just another day at work. I don't hate anyone. I've never had that in my career yet, for me to hate someone. I'd probably say one of my best fights was two of the people I liked. One of them was Phil Davis, and the second one was Liam McGeary. Liam McGeary is like a good friend, and I felt like that was my best performance. And then I fought Phil Davis. I say we weren't good friends, but we'd see each other talk and stuff, and then I had to fight him. So I wouldn't say you'd have to hate the person at all, but it's, if I don't hurt you, you're going to hurt me. And the way I like to explain it is, someone's trying to take food out of your pocket, out of your mouth. You're trying to feed your family, and because you get 2 checks if you win. So someone's pretty much gone into my pocket and just took my money. That's what they're trying to do. So you going to let someone steal some money from you? No, you're not. You're going to punch them, kick them, do what you can to survive. And yeah, I want to be the champion. I want to be the best. So, and that person's in my way. They're trying to stop me from doing that. And that's exactly how I see it. It is a fight, but I don't hate anyone. I've never had that. So, I couldn't really say if it would change if I did hate someone, if I would feel better, or, I'm probably going to guess it'd probably be harder if you did hate someone.
To fight them, you mean?
I'm going to say, and I like to say, like, especially for Aldo, I like to say the best example would probably be Aldo and Conor.
Yeah.
I feel like Aldo hated him because he couldn't speak English, and he had a whole year of Conor McGregor winding him up, saying this, saying that, and he couldn't say anything back. And then I think he had all that anger pented up. He just ran at him and got caught. And we all know Aldo's better than that. He never just gets caught. And I feel like he never came back from that.
That's true. It's that mental warfare that
Yes.
some people, like Donald Cowboy Cerrone, for instance, he likes to go in there and have fun. He just likes to fight. And when he has somebody, like Nate Diaz talking trash to him, I think you're not in there for the same reason, And but I really wanted to bring that to the listeners, that like you even on the preamble, you're such a nice dude. It's like, I don't ever want anybody to confuse, the fact that you're a professional fighter as anything other than the fact that is just what you're very talented at and you're very passionate about. You are like a genuine gentleman and a great human being as well. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. And that's exactly how it is. It's, I'm a top bloke outside, but as soon as we get in there, that's it. It's different. Sorry, like, I'll shake your hand after, but right now I'm gonna smash you up. That's just exactly how it is. I'm not gonna go in there and play happy families and be best friends. Like, you're in my way right now.
Right. Linton, there's something that Kevin knew was coming. There's a question that I like to ask our guests. So I compete in men's physique competitions, and one of the things that most people outside of the industry wouldn't know is that if you look healthy and well backstage, you're going to lose on stage, because the level of lean that you need to get, the amount of weight you need to cut to win those shows is pretty drastic, and it takes a toll on you emotionally, and the injuries. I resonated very strongly with when you were talking about cutting weight, and I was like, oh, I really don't want to do a show in August.
Yeah.
But anyways, so what is something for someone outside of MMA that's never been in the ring? What's something that they just wouldn't know because they're looking from the outside in that you can bring, maybe to the surface here?
What you mean about cutting the weight?
About anything, and basically sort of like if you look good backstage, you won't win on stage. That's something someone wouldn't know, unless they were in the industry. What's something that people wouldn't know about fighting that you can bring?
I'd say a good like 80-90% of it is mental, because we all have doubts, like going in. And again, I've had like nearly 30 fights. I still do go in there thinking, I hope I don't get knocked out. But you got to think, it's a combat sport. Anything can happen. If you go into that fight thinking, oh, I'm going to lose, I'm going to say 10 out of 10 times you're going to get knocked out or you're going to get choked. and you're going to lose that fight. So yeah, I feel like doesn't matter how many fights you had, you're always going to have them doubts. It's just how you deal with them. It really is. And again, you mentioned about mindset. A lot of it is mindset also. You know, you've got to be confident in what you can do. Like, okay, if you're going into the cage thinking, you know, this dude's better than me, you know what I mean? Probably 9 times out of 10, he's gonna do stuff that's gonna work that probably wouldn't work at training. You know, I've been there, done that, and I've doubted myself and come up the short end. You know, I've just had to go back and fix a few things and change some stuff up. You know, you do come back stronger.
Linton, what is your mental preparation in terms of going into a fight to make sure, I guess, when you have those doubts creeping in, like we all do at times, how do you get over that before a fight to make sure that it doesn't hurt your performance?
One of the things, like, this is like even just going back into when I first started, like little things like I know what I can do. I can, I can beat this guy. I know, the type of training I've put in, the hard work I've put in. He might have fought this guy, but I know I can do this to this other guy at training who's a high level or something. That's the way I deal with it. I know what I can do outside the cage, so it just means I've just got to do it inside now.
Linton, so we always say, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, that our failures teach us more than our successes. But when it comes to fighting, a failure is very personal. Like it's easy probably for that to attach to your identity. So you were talking about Phil Davis. I actually watched the Phil Davis fight right before this interview, and for those who don't know, you got kicked in the head. It was a head kick knockout. And so how do you recover from that mentally and realize, okay, maybe I made a mistake here, but that doesn't make me a bad fighter. That doesn't mean that's going to happen again. Like, how do you ground yourself after something like that?
So for that fight, I felt like it was high paced from the start. You know, if you watch that fight, there was pretty no stalemate at all. Like, we went down to the ground, we scrambled straight back up. You know what I mean? We were striking, we were kicking, everything. I felt like that was a high paced fight. And I watched the fight back, and I feel like he caught me because I was throwing a lazy jab. Obviously, not taking off away from him, but I felt like I was throwing a lazy jab, and he threw a kick, and it caught me. Obviously, he knocked me out, and fair play to him. So obviously, for that, I've gone back and put my hands up when I spar. Make sure my hands are a little bit higher. Be out of range also. Don't just be there for a counter. So there's things I've changed. But also I was going to say, like, for instance, the Ryan Bader fight. So that was before the Phil Davis fight. So obviously when I got taken down, there was at one point I didn't get back up. So after that fight, when I fought Phil Davis, all I did was get ups. And I like to say I proved that, because whenever Phil went to take me down, I either stuffed it or I just got back up or I took him down. So that's the way I always feel like. Whenever you make a mistake, the way to learn is to go back and work on it.
Have you always had that mindset, or is that something you've developed throughout fighting? Because a lot of people, like, they lose at something and then the next thing out of their mouth is, you know what, this isn't for me. So how is your mindset regarding, failure and growing from it? How has it evolved over the years? Because again, like, going through your Instagram, it's just filled with tidbits of knowledge and wisdom. I really, really enjoyed that.
It really is. You live and you learn. Again, like from the fights I've won, I don't really think I've learned anything. It's the ones I lost was one of the reasons why I came here. I lost a big world title fight. I admit I didn't have the training, but at the point, I knew I could beat that guy. And I don't know if you've watched it. It was a 5-round fight. I beat him up for the first 3 rounds. A world champion. I was all over him, and I got tired. So I went back, obviously, spoke to the coaches. We were like, okay, so you might have been a little bit too big for that, muscular wise. Because we worked on like being stronger than him, more than the cardio side. And then also the other bit was the training partners. I didn't have that back in England. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to America, and let's change it up. And I went on to win some more fights. So I feel like that I've learned from my mistakes. I really have. I feel like I've learned from my mistakes, and it only builds you up. I feel like if you just quit soon as it goes bad, it's not for you. If you're willing to quit, it's not for you. I feel like this is my dream. This is my goal. This is my career. I'm putting everything into it. I'm not going to give up just because I lost a fight, lost 2 fights. You know what I mean? Like you can't give up soon as it starts going bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you are enjoying this episode where Alan and I were lucky enough to chat with professional mixed martial artist Linton Vassell. Alan is going to tell you about an event that we have coming up.
So, folks, we set the intention to try to host an event at least once every month. The first one we're doing is at the Confident Women's Consortium in Groton, Massachusetts on July 25th from 6:30 to 8:30. There will be meals served. It's going to be chicken, buffet style. Kevin is going to talk on cultivating confidence. And I'm going to talk on how to look as good on the outside as you are on the inside. I'm going to give you my exact formula of how I created my dream physique. Imagine a world where you walked into a room and you lit up the room with an impressive physique that radiated confidence, work ethic, and self-discipline.
Guys, I haven't always been the man I am today. It took conscious practice of me being confident, stepping into rooms and acting confident, realizing that I am capable of far more than I was giving myself credit for. So that is what I will be speaking on. And we actually have been told by many of our listeners that they are planning on possibly flying across the country to come meet us in person. We're really looking forward to that. But if you're unable to do that, head over to the hyperconsciouspodcast.com/courses. And for the price of 3 coffees a month, you will have Alan and I as your personal mentors, and we will help you make the shifts you need to change your life. And do you think that we should get back into the episode?
I do. Nice pause there.
Yeah, we will. Okay, talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Linton, I've often said that we will only grow in proportion to the size and the scale of our ambition. You just mentioned that fighting is your dream and that you're going to persist no matter what. I've also said that it's not just about achieving the dream, but what the dream will make of you to achieve it in terms of the prep work, the mentality, the mindset. Yeah. What is something that you can bring to the listeners that came as a byproduct of this dream of fighting about in terms of like how it's built your character? Like what about you today is now true that's built you up that wouldn't be if you didn't have this dream and really persist through those challenging losses?
I've always been someone that wants to win. Like even if it's a game of cards or like playing a computer game, I'm a sore loser.
Competitive.
So I just feel like, I just have something to prove. I want people to know that, I should be and I am a world champion, I feel like. I don't know if that answered the question though. I actually sort of forgot what you answered.
No worries, Linton. We
appreciate the honesty.
But for me, that's I just feel like I just like to win. I like to win. So for me coming here, I feel like I get to train with the best, and I get punched, get kicked up sometimes. I just feel like that's this is where I should be. And it's only a matter of time, I feel like, before I actually get my hands on that title.
So we always talk about how your network is unbelievably important, and you should always kind of be in over your head if you want to get better. And that's what you're referencing,
comfort zone.
Right?
Yes.
Comfort zones. You're referencing that I had to come over here, and you're in Florida, right? You're at Hard Knocks.
Yeah, by myself, mate. No family here.
Right. So that must have been an incredibly hard thing to do.
It was.
How did you get through that? How did you get through being in the United States by yourself in an entirely new place with people you didn't know and training your butt off every day and probably getting beat up a good amount of time?
Oh, definitely.
What was that like?
So when I first came here, I remember Rumble Johnson punching me, and I actually said, "Why are you punching me so hard?" Seriously, but I knew the place for me, because that's what I needed. I didn't have that in England. Seriously, I was training with the guys, but I wasn't getting pushed. I'd finish training and I'd be like, I'm okay. I hadn't felt like I'd trained here. Like, there's obviously we've got wrestling, we've got all different types of guys from all over the world. you know. So I've been pushed so much here. But yeah, actually moving here was probably the hardest thing because I came here for a year. Again, I didn't know anybody. But what did obviously help was the people that I met here because we're all on the same journey. And we had a fighter's house here, so we'd go train together and then hang out together. So it sort of was my new family, if you know what I mean. Not by blood, but it was my new family. So that's the best way I got over it. You know, coming out here was that I'm here with everyone else on the same journey. You know what I mean? They've come out here without no family, and we're all on the same path right now.
That's really powerful, Linton, and congrats for you getting outside your comfort zone and from your
Thank
personal
you.
life standpoint on that, because that's huge. I think that we sort of like the fish in the fishbowl. You can only grow as big as the bowl. Sometimes we
Exactly.
need to get ourselves into bigger bowls. So
Yeah.
I talk a lot about the silence between the notes that makes the music. So the music in your case is the actual live fights. But I often say that every success that we see in public is 10,000 small courageous moments that no one ever saw in private. Can you take us through for the listeners what a typical day of training is for you in terms of the prep work? Because like on this podcast, you know, everyone sees us interviewing you, but they don't realize that
Yes.
it's the 165 previous episodes that allow us to perform at this
Of course.
level. So yeah, what's a typical day for Linton?
Okay, so like for instance, today we sparred today. So that's MMA sparring and kickboxing sparring. So sorry, it's we did kickboxing sparring, but if you wanted to, you could do some takedowns and stuff. So usually Tuesday is kickboxing, but anyway, we did MMA today, just for instance. We did about I'm going to say about 10 rounds. We probably did, and you can imagine the heat in Florida.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
hot.
Right.
Even just turn up to the gym and just like going on the foam rollers, I'm sweating already. So you can imagine that's the workout from itself. So you obviously you get in there, you do your warm up, and then you do 2 rounds of warm up, and then we did 10 rounds of sparring. You can imagine obviously all world fighters fighting. Again, men, for instance, it's just the way it is. People are going to hit hard or whatever. And the level's high as well. You're not going to be fighting some bums. Everyone's at top level. Everyone brings something to the table. So I've done that. Come home. I've ate. Had a little chill with the boys. Had a little laugh and stuff. Now in my room just watching some telly. And then I've got training at 5 o'clock, which is going to be lifting. So it's going to be strength conditioning, and with a little bit of cardio involved as well. And that'll be about 45 minutes. And then after that, I'm probably more likely going to go to the sauna and just have a little relax. But that's what I do outside of camp. You know, I haven't got a fight right now. If I had a fight camp, I'd do the same stuff. And then I'd probably, instead of going to the sauna, I'd probably do the elliptical first, or like the bike, do some cardio for an hour, and then I'd go in the sauna. So training, you'd probably train in an actual fight camp. You're probably training 3 times a day, 2 to 3 times a day, guaranteed. And you got to think. I'm not saying every session's going to be hard, but you got to think. You got to bring yourself up out of bed and train. The next day you got to do the same again. It really does feel like it's Groundhog Day. And there's plenty of times I've been like, I won't go in today. And then it comes to about 9 o'clock and I'm like, I've got to go in. I have to go in. Especially like I live with some guys. So, you know, if I'm not going in today, I feel bad. And I've got to think, it's my career. What am I going to do if I lose? Am I going to be like, oh, I didn't go in that day? You know what I mean? So it really is. It's harder than it looks. It really is.
I think it looks incredibly hard, so I can only imagine, you know, it must be really hard. We were talking about that in the preamble of like,
Yes.
I think that a lot of people, they don't really know what goes into certain things. Like,
Yeah.
how many times have you fought injured?
Oh, many a times. I can't even count. Many of times. Bad ankle, bad knee, bad hip, back, neck, hand. I broke my wrist, and I fought 6 weeks before. No, sorry, 6 weeks after. So I did my whole fight camp with one hand.
My goodness.
One hand. So I went doctors. So what happened? I went on holiday and was playing, I think, water polo, and I was like, my wrist hurts. I went to the doctors obviously when I got back after my 2-week holiday, and I'm like, yeah, you broke your wrist. And I'm playing water polo. Like, I know it's not a hard sport, but I'm still playing and using my hands. And they're like, yeah, your hand's you broke. Yeah, your wrist's broke. And I was like, oh shit. They're like, yeah, we need to put it in a cast. I'm like, oh, I'm fighting in like 6 weeks. No, I was fighting in 8 weeks. I was like, I'm fighting in 8 weeks. They were like, oh, you're not fighting. I was like, all right, whatever. So I had my cast done for 6 weeks. I went to the gym every day and did boxing with my right hand. The cast came off. My arm was skinny, like skinny. So 2 weeks later, I had the fight, and my first punch was a cross, and I busted him open. So for me, that just shows you work one weapon enough, repeat, it's going to be a hard weapon. I won the fight as well, so obviously that was a blessing. But I weren't giving up. I was like, I'm fighting. I don't care, one hand or not. And it was my Bellator debut. So yeah, I went in there with one hand pretty much.
Oh, you got to do that. You got to get in that Bellator cage. That's
You
what it's
have
all
to.
about.
You have to.
All right, so I was going through your Instagram, and something I saw was you had a picture looking ravishing. You're just a stud standing there with posing. But
Okay.
it says, if it's both terrifying and amazing, then you should definitely pursue it.
Yes.
You are a professional fighter, and fighting is most people's biggest fear. What are you actually afraid of? Like, what are some of your bigger fears in life?
Okay, so a tarantula, no, I'll be terrified of a tarantula. Like, do not put that near me. I would never jump out of a plane, never bungee jump. I hate the sea. They're some of my fears, mate. Seriously, like, yeah, no way.
I can't blame you there. My buddy just went skydiving. He's trying to get me to go. I'm gonna pass.
No, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
way.
pass. You
No.
like snakes though. You're afraid of
Yeah,
tarantulas. You like
it's totally
snakes?
different though. Snakes and spiders are two different things, man. Like I don't know. Like even to talking about it, I'm sweating. Tarantulas are horrible. Have you ever heard of a Goliath?
Yes.
I see one and it was shaking in the box. I had to run away. I was like, no, mate. Like, oh, nah. But snakes, I like snakes. Snakes are my thing.
What got you into? So I was like, so you have another page. You have your personal page, and then you have a page about your reptiles. How did you get into that? Like, and why is that such a passion of yours?
So I wouldn't say I was always into reptiles, but I liked reptiles. I had a bearded dragon when I lived in England, and that was the only like reptile I had at the time. But one of my friends, Gavin Gillins, he had a snake, and he was going to work, and he was working away, and he had a corn snake, which is a little bit smaller than the snakes I have. So I looked after that for I think about 2 months. And then after that, it was sort of like, oh, I like snakes actually more than I actually thought. But at the time, I could never get a snake. My partner at the time, she didn't like snakes and stuff, so I never got one. And then when I came to Florida, I found out about this reptile shop. And I was looking at these snakes, and I was like, I can get a snake if I want. And before you know it, I bought one snake, and then one of my friends gave me a second snake for free. So now I've got 2 snakes and I've got 2 geckos. So
Alan went to the bathroom, so just to catch him up, I was talking to Linton about his love for reptiles. He also likes reptiles.
But what was the? You asked him about his fears.
No tarantulas.
Oh, okay, no tarantulas. Gotcha.
Bungee jumping,
bungee jumping, yeah, no way.
Sounds good.
No way.
Linton, earlier in this interview, you mentioned how when you're going into a fight, you would never let someone take money out of your pocket.
Yeah.
To feed your family, things like that. So we talk a lot about why power. In other words, how deep and emotionalized your reasons for doing something are, the more likely you follow through and you persist. So it's very clear to everyone listening that you obviously persist towards your dreams. Where do you think you get that hunger, that fire, that ambition, and like what are your deep reasons why you keep going no matter how hard it gets, even when your wrist is broken playing water polo?
Yeah, play. You let me leave that down now. Water polo. It's a hard sport when you got one hand, right? To be honest, I'm just gonna say, just growing up with friends and my sister and stuff. Like, I don't know, just growing up, I've just always been that. I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose. Again, if it even is playing cards, playing a computer game, I just don't want to lose. And I feel like I've just took that onto a whole new level. For me, I would say it's embarrassing. I just don't want to lose. I want to prove to everyone I am the best. Yeah, again, it might sound cheesy and corny, but that's just the way. I don't like losing at all. You know, whether we're playing, I feel like I've got to win. You know, I just feel like I've got to win, and I feel like I've took that with me into fighting, and I feel like it's helped. You know, I've had a good career. I'm not saying my career's over at all. I feel like I've still got another good like 5 years in me to get to that next level.
Linton, I very much resonate strongly with that. I always, wanted to be the best at what I do. And I'm very mastery driven. And I think wanting to be the best is absolutely critical because that's what's going to keep you going. But
exactly.
The funny thing is that the only way to be the best is to be willing to lose along the way.
Of course,
so it's this. So I think a lot of people who want to be the best, Linton, I think a lot of them are too afraid to try sometimes because they are so afraid to lose.
Of losing.
Right. How do you balance that unbelievable desire to win and be the best, but also realize the only way to be the best is to consistently fail forward?
Do you know what? I don't know. I just feel like I'm not going to lose. I really do. I really feel like I can beat every single person in the world. It's crazy, but that's just the way I feel. I just feel like I can beat you. You can't beat me up. You know what I'm saying? Win or lose, I know it's a combat sport, and again, I feel like I've lost to people that I shouldn't have. Again, that's not trying to be big-headed or nothing, but I feel like I have lost to people that I shouldn't have lost to. But again, it's just the way I feel right now, and it's just what's going to push me forward. So I feel like I shouldn't have lost to him. Let's have a rematch, or I've got to prove myself now to this next person. I've got to do this. I've got to change that. And I really do feel like that's what makes you a better athlete, because you have a fight and you lose, you're like, I can't have that again. Because again, like especially like your friends, family, girlfriends and stuff, I've had people say to me, I think you should give up. I'm like, no, just because I've lost one fight or two, whatever, I'm not giving up. And I feel like that pushes me even more, or doubters. When people say, I don't think you can do it, or you think you're going to win, I'm like, I'm going to prove I'm going to win. I'm going to prove you wrong also.
Linton, Alan always says this. He always says, I have 1,000 questions jumping off the page, or 100 questions. I have 1,000,000 questions I want to ask. But
see that one up right there? That was a one upper right there.
Million.
Right.
Million. I don't think I've got time for 1,000,000.
No, trust me.
I'll do as many as I can.
I don't think anybody has. But so for you, you seem like a very confident individual. Now, does that confidence carry into normal daily life when it comes to, the fact that you are such a competent person with your body, and, you alone in an alley walking down the street, that's really not a big deal. Like, you do this for a living.
Yeah, of course.
So do you find that being competent when it comes to your body, martial arts, and physical altercation, does that help you in normal day life, like everyday life?
Yeah, I like to say, yeah, it does. Like I've not been, I'm never an arsehole, I'll be as polite to anyone as they are to me. But yeah, I've never, again, when I was younger, I had a guy punch me because he thought I stole his bike. It wasn't me, it was my friend, but somehow we looked the same. But anyway, other than that, I feel like, it has gone along in life. Like, I don't have no trouble. I feel like, I'm likable, and vice versa. I'll like anyone, talk to anyone, to be honest. A lot of people probably say, I never thought you'd be this nice.
Right.
I'm like, what did you expect? And again, maybe because I'm a fighter, big, tall black man. I'm going to be a normal person.
Based on some of your Instagram photos, I'm also pleasantly surprised. I told Kevin before this interview, I'm like, are you ready to interview someone who could kill us both and eat us?
Yes.
And
eat you.
Yeah. Depending on how deep into your cut you are.
Linton, do you think you get treated differently when people find out you're a fighter?
Yes, definitely, definitely.
In what way would you say?
People look more nicer. Like, oh, you're gonna the fight. I'm like, oh, wow, okay. You know, I feel like people think I'm gonna be again an ass. Just, and then maybe also from my accent as well, especially being here. Then like, oh, you're English, okay, and then then they start talking. But I do feel like I get looks now and then, but until they hear me speak or they realize I'm not, a big monster or something, then I definitely do feel like I get treated different.
Linton, before you got into fighting, I think Kevin said back in 2006, 2007, but actually, let's go even deeper than that. Let's go before you were fighting your friend, and your mom came out and yelled at you, and you were like beating him up. What was your dream before that? Before you were, considering yourself a fighter, before you had that identity?
So I was a builder. I was a bricklayer, and I'd probably say my passion was probably going to be a pro wrestler.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I watched wrestling quite a lot, and I did think, you know what, I could probably be a wrestler because me and my friends, again, they're big wrestling fans. We'd always spoke, and they're like, yeah, we could do this, have a tag team, blah blah blah. So if anything, if I didn't do this, I'd probably still be in America doing WWE as it is now. Yeah, I feel like that'd probably be my other goal if I didn't do mixed martial arts, or I'll have probably still been at home in England building homes.
Powerful.
Yeah, is it interesting to look back, and Alan and I have this moment a lot where we're like, we've only been doing the podcast full time as our real jobs for
Yes.
like 2 years now. And you said you've been fighting for 14 almost?
That's right.
So when you look back, does it almost feel like you lived kind of like two lives? Because now you're a professional athlete at the highest of levels.
Yeah, it really does. Because again, I was a bricklayer from when I was 15 to I was at least 30. So that's a long time as well. But obviously, I was doing the mixed martial arts in between that. So I was training every day after work, and then so I was training. So I was working 7 days a week, try and live. And then I was going to train after. So I was after training, I'd always go. So after work, I'd always go to training. So it really does feel like I've lived two lives. But even when I was at work, I remember talking to one of my friends, and he was like, "You don't want to be here, do you?" And I was just like, I don't want to be here at all. Like it just got to the point where I was like, I can't do this no more. I don't want to be a builder. I feel like I'm here for something else. And then I got a sponsor, and then I got signed by Bellator.
So say somebody comes up to you, Linton, and they say, hey, I'm doing this job just to pay the bills. I'm working 7 days a week, but I really, really, really have this passion, and I think my purpose is to do something different. What do you say to them?
Well, I would say don't quit your job. Do what you want to do, and make sure you like it, because a lot of people try it and they don't stick at it at all. I feel like if you pick 10 people, probably 2 people are really going to stick at it, because when they realize what you got to do, it's not easy. It's not easy. You got to think. Some people will train once or twice a week, and they're like, "Oh, my body's hurting." Do that every day,
For
2-3
14
times
years.
a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You wake up, you're like, my back, but you got to go train. You still got to go training. You got a fight coming up.
Right.
What are you going to do? Sit at home? You know what I mean? Okay, sometimes you should, because you could probably make yourself worse. But again, it's, you know what I mean? You're still hurting. You still got to go train. Where if that's not your professional job, you can be like, you know what? I won't go back to training until I feel better. And that's not the case. So I would say try it. See if you actually like it, and if you do keep going back, pursue it even more. And I'd say only stop working if you got a sponsor and money coming in. Don't just stop because you think you're going to make it, because then, you may not, and you've got no money coming in, and before you know it, you got to go back to work.
As Oprah Winfrey said, do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do.
There you go.
That's exactly what you did. You were bricklaying while training. That's huge.
Yes.
And I
hated it.
Right. I have no doubt that the bricklaying was a very physical conditioning as well. And then going to
in
train
England,
after that.
cold weather,
Right.
wake up, it's snowing. it's like -5. You got to go out there. I was like, I hate my life.
Linton, where did you get this work ethic? Like 7 days a week bricklaying and then training after that. That's a level of, for lack of better phrasing, savagery that most people don't experience. Like, where do you think that came from? That level of dedication, work ethic?
Maybe from my mum. My dad passed away when I was 12, so my mum was obviously an only parent, and she always gave us what we wanted. We always had a roof over our head. We stayed in the family home, So she worked 2 jobs. So it sort of, I feel like I was brought up like that. I just took that with me. Like, I feel like if I want something, I better work for it. I can't ask people for money. Like, if I want to go on holiday, I better get 2 jobs, which I did. If I want to do something, you better go and get up and do something about it. It's not going to fall on your lap. I wouldn't be here where I am fighting for Bellator if I just, sat on my ass and trained maybe once, twice a week.
Right.
That's what I wanted to do. I liked it. I like fighting. I like competing. It's good. It makes me feel good.
I resonated very strongly with what you said at the beginning of this interview. When you don't train, you feel off. I've been telling Kevin recently, like, I feel a little off lately. I don't know why. And I was maybe a little more snarky than usual. And I realized just now, this is the first time I've taken 3 days off from the gym in a row in like 4 years. Yeah, there
That's
it is.
it.
Yeah, we found.
Tell him, Linton. Tell him. Get your fat ass back in the gym.
Get your fat ass back there.
I'm going
mad.
tonight.
I feel like your brain knows. It's like, I think maybe it's the all. What was it?
Endorphins.
That's it. Endorphin.
Right.
I feel like your body knows, and it's like, I haven't let none off yet. I haven't had any back in yet either. So I think your body's like, right, you need to like go to the gym.
Yeah.
Again, it's even if you go to the gym and just have a little sauna or something, I feel like that helps. It just does. I can't be stuck in my house. I need to go out and sort of just do something, even if it's 10, 15 minutes. I feel like my body needs to sort of move and do something.
I was a little extra sassy to Kevin yesterday. We just got a new camera and we're trying to figure out how to use this thing.
It actually did.
Yeah.
And it already shut off during this episode.
Yeah, just so you know, but we had a backup. Which is good.
Okay.
But I think it's because I haven't been to the gym, so I'm going to do that tonight. No questions asked.
Yeah, again, even if it's like 30 minutes, just get a little pump on or whatever you got to do, a little cardio, a little swim. Just a little pump to sort of get your body to sort of loosen up. And you do feel good. You do feel good. It makes you puts you in a good mood.
It's my favorite thing.
Yes.
All right, Linton. So we always have 2 questions that we like to ask every single guest that we have. And we are going to ask you those now.
Yes.
So I think we have 90 years on this earth, 100 years, 120 if you're a superhuman.
Yeah.
And you're clearly doing what you love. You're clearly living your passion
really am.
and you're living your dream. What do you hope to accomplish in your life? Like, what is the big picture for Linton?
Again, it's no lie. It's to get a world title. Like, I feel like I'm more than capable of getting one. I really am. So a world title is definitely on top of that list. And I just feel like it's a matter of time. We'll have our journeys. I like to I like to say Randy Couture. He started late. He never got into the Olympics, but he kept trying. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, okay, that's not for me. But then he ended up being like 2-3 time world champion. I think his last one was like 45, 46. So it proves you can do it, and 2, I've got that will to win and never give up attitude.
It's the constant pursuit that makes us happy. It's the pursuit of your potential. Yeah, you
fall down 10 times, get up 11. You know what I mean? Just keep going. You can't be like, oh, maybe it's my time up.
Right.
And I feel like people that really, really like put so much into it, you can't just give up. You can't you can give up if you're a bit too old and it just really isn't happening, but you can't just give up when it gets a bit sour.
Linton, and no matter what happens later in life, you will never look back saying, I quit too early.
What if?
Yes.
You won't have what if, and you won't have regrets.
No,
so that's the
and
most
resenting
powerful thing.
people.
Right.
No way.
Regret is poison. We on this podcast always try to reverse engineer regret. What am I doing today that I might regret in the future? And what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So My last question for you, Linton, because I want to respect your time. Kevin was hitting his watch on me. That
That
means I got to.
Somebody's gonna
I've had fun. and it's gone real quick, to be honest.
Oh,
It's gone real
time
quick.
flies when you're having fun. This has
Yes,
been incredible,
it
man.
does. It really does.
So, Linton, you are unbelievably confident and competent. You understand that failure is part of the equation for success. You grow and evolve. It's very clear that you've grown and evolved so much at hearing your story. I wear a North Star around my neck, and it represents that sort of dream that you just referenced of a world title and
Yes.
beyond that and what it makes of you. But we grow and evolve a lot. We change, but there's something about us that I believe never changes. What about you, Linton, is consistent? It never changed.
I'm definitely going to say the will to win and my passion. It's in me. Like, even so, I'm just like, I've got to win. I can't, I can't fail. It's, again, you fail and then you come back from it. But I know this is what I was meant. This is what I was born to do. I was born to be a world champion. I was born to be a fighter. I was born to hurt people and look the way I am. That's what I was put on this earth for. And I really do feel that way. And I'm just saying it for the cameras and the TV and the radio. That's exactly how I feel. And I said to me and my friend Steve Murray, another heavyweight, we both say we're here to destroy. We are.
For all the listeners out there, just listen to the level of conviction that he says that with. Like, that level of undying self-belief is the fuel that will power your dreams despite any of the challenges, any of the obstacles. That's the reason Linton has gotten to where he is. I always say I want to inject belief into people because we've all been in times when we had self-doubt and someone believed in us. And that's really my main purpose, to believe in someone else and really give them the emotional rocket fuel to achieve their dreams. Linton,
fuel.
yeah.
But I feel like, how will you ever know if you can do something if you don't even try?
Right.
If you don't try, how are you going to know you can't do it? Again, like for me, for instance, I said about I've had self-doubts before. Like, I think one of them was when I fought Bader. I'm thinking, I'm fighting Ryan Bader. Damn, he fought John Jones, fought Machida, fought all these guys. But at the end of the day, I'm fighting him because that's how good I am.
Right. You deserve it.
And that's the way people should think. You know what I mean? They're fighting that person because that's how good you are.
You've earned it.
You got yourself to that level.
Right.
So believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself. That's the most powerful thing.
Linton, you have two people that will be following your journey. I cannot wait for your next fight. I'm sure Alan and I will have to get together and watch it. Is there anything you want to talk about before we let you go? Anything you want to plug? Anything?
Just again, appreciate everyone that supported me from the start to the end. Again, my journey is not over. You know what I mean? Big things are going to be happening. Starting my new journey, to say version 2, at heavyweight. So tune in. I haven't got a date yet, but again, you can follow my Instagram page, LDV_the Swarm. You can see what I get up to on a daily basis, see me flexing, see me lifting, see me doing stuff, But yeah, again, thank you everyone that has been following my journey.
More jacked than Kevin and I combined.
Yes.
You can do it. Get to that gym.
You know it.
You can do it.
Right after this, Linton. Right after this.
Linton, we always set the intention to meet up with our guests for like a round 2. We're actually going to be traveling to Florida. We frequent Florida pretty often, so we will make sure that we reach out to you.
Definitely.
And then maybe you and Alan can spar and I can watch.
Oh, yes. Hey, come to Hard Knocks, mate. Bring a mouthpiece, yeah?
Sounds good.
Bring
good.
a
I am
mouthpiece.
terrified right now. I haven't been this scared.
I'll go light on you, but we'll bring a mouthpiece.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
All right, Linton, we will let you go. Get on with your day.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate
Take care.
you, my friend.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this episode where Alan and I were lucky enough to sit down with Linton the Swarm Vassell. Up next, we have a very special 5-minute clinic on the word commitment. So, when you're in a relationship, there's a big difference between being in a relationship and saying, I am committed to being the best partner I can. I want to communicate. I want to be vulnerable. I want to fix all of our problems. And I want to have the best relationship humanly possible. It's a big difference between the two.
Folks, you've probably heard me talk about a term called CANI. CANI! A commitment to constant and never-ending improvement. I owe that to Tony Robbins. I will never forget Lessons in Mastery, the excerpt on CANI. Imagine what your life could look like. If you had a commitment to constantly and never-endingly improve every single day, that's what we want to help you do, but you have to be committed to it. It's not something that you just kind of like do occasionally. It's something that is a must for you every single day.
That episode is going to be absolute fire, and we hope you will enjoy.
Talk to you soon.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for listening to another episode of the Hyper Conscious Podcast.
Going hyper-conscious will absolutely change your life, because if you understand why something is the way it is, now you have the power to change it. If you going hyper-conscious with us has changed your life in any way, please share this episode with one of your friends, because the more people that go hyper-conscious, the better this world's going to be for everybody.
And if you would kindly leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, that would help us make more people hyper-conscious, and we would be greatly appreciative.
Thank you.
Bye.